From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
And I am Caleb.
And we have a new iTunes review this week.
Yes.
What?
I'm excited. I love reading reviews.
Oh, you're excited. Dude, I love the reviews too. Like, when you guys post reviews, all of you guys, when you guys have posted reviews, except for I Brimley, of course.
Even I Brimley.
It was like, oh, 4-star, and then it was like, oh. Actually, Sniper 912 gave us a 4-star review, but
for the sexy fan fiction.
I was much happier about Sniper's review than I was about I Brimley.
But I feel that it's only fair that now that we're done with fan fiction, maybe that'd be addressed. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it feels great to get a review.
I think he's our Australian listener. Yeah, he's pretty active on our forums and he's the most active person on our blog.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. I love you, Sniper 912. You make my day.
Hit up the forums and hit up the reviews, and we'll read yours.
That's right. So you want to read this one, Schweiss?
Yeah, it is called "Relive Your Favorite FF Games" by Batman2J.
Batman2J.
It's true. There's two T's. All right. So he says, "I recently found this while looking for game-related podcasts and was skeptical after listening to some of the other RPG-related shows."
Damn chocobo.
Anyway, after listening to the first episode, I immediately hit the subscribe button. What does that say about some of these other ones? If he listened to our very first episode and subscribed.
Wow, he listened to the first episode and subscribed?
That's what he says. That's like the worst quality one. It's a good conversation, though. I
do actually think that episode was good. It was just badly recorded.
Right. And he says, by the way, if you listen to the first couple episodes, the sound quality isn't the greatest, but it is an issue they fixed right away. I just went B form. Which is true. We did. The hosts of the show play through the different Final Fantasy games and talk about their experiences. This is a great way. Are you having trouble today? I am, for some reason. It is a great way to reminisce about your own playthroughs, or get interested about titles that you may have missed.
Final Fantasy V.
I would like to see them dive a little deeper into some titles in regards to the side quests, which we do address a little later. I mean, yeah. If he did this, especially after the first one, there's like very little side questing,
true, yeah.
Especially in our version.
We didn't do any side questing till 5, I think.
Yeah, bonus dungeons, ultimate weapons, etc. But the podcast is still relatively new and still evolving, and I'm sure
it's true. We're like Pokemon.
It's true, yeah. We are in like our second evolution stage now.
It's true, yeah.
And I'm sure these features will be included. Overall, this is an entertaining podcast, and I recommend you give it a try.
I will give it a try. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Batman2J. Once again, everybody is invited to leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher, and we will, of course, check those before the show and read them out loud during the first segment of our podcast. And we just want to thank you guys who have left reviews, and thank you guys in the future who will leave reviews.
Yes, you will.
Make sure to subscribe to our show. Should we get to the news?
I think we should.
Let's get to the news. A single, solitary news item this week.
Oh, man.
It's not even really Final Fantasy news, but since we do count Kingdom Hearts as Final Fantasy, there is some Kingdom Hearts 3 news.
Please, do tell.
They are hiring at Square-Enix for a UI designer, and then there's a position in charge of, like, for people like technical artist positions, and then network programming positions. available at Square-Enix.
So apply now.
And although I'm not 100% sure this is for Kingdom Hearts 3, this is what all the news sites are telling me that it's for Kingdom Hearts 3. So yeah, if you know Japanese and you're a really good programmer, go ahead and apply.
Yeah. And then give us inside secrets of
Exactly.
what's going on.
Oh man, yeah. If you are one of those people, go into our contact forum, give us some insider information. We'd love it.
Yeah, we would enjoy it.
That's it for news. This is such a slow news week this week. Theater Rhythm came out, so there's like a whole bunch of stuff about there's reviews for Theater Rhythm.
So far, it seems positive.
Yeah, there's no review from us on Theater Rhythm because we're behind in the games, and unless 15 comes out when we're doing 13.
Yeah, well, if 15 comes out, I'm taking time off work, and we're going to dominate 15, and then we're going to do an episode.
We're going to dominate it together?
Oh, yeah, we're going to tag team it.
Strap. Yeah, oh, yeah. Dude, I'm excited.
All right, I'm out. But yeah, that's probably the only game that we'll really, really go for as far as an instant review, because we're pretty pumped for it.
Right, exactly. We're pumped for it, even though it's probably like 2 years out.
Yeah, we'll probably be there by the time it comes out.
Once again, I'd just like to say that Kingdom Hearts is in early development still. So like this whole thing, we're like, when is Kingdom Hearts going to come out? You really have to follow the news of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, you can wait.
Closely.
Right?
It's gonna be a while.
We've been waiting way longer.
How many times have you said you can wait on our podcast?
I don't know.
Because really, that's just a joke for me.
It's a joke for Caleb, too, if he would listen.
Yeah, fat Caleb. The other Caleb, as we call him, he's really fat.
Well, great. Now we're assholes.
Okay. Well, let's explain where that reference comes from. The other Caleb works at a store, and he's really bad at customer service.
Yeah.
And we were out in another part, and he was like taking the trash out for his store, and there was a whole line of customers, and we're like, dude, what are you doing? You have a whole bunch of customers. What are you taking the trash out for?
Yeah.
And then his response was,
he was like, they can wait, because he had seen that someone threw away the little scrubby brush for your windows, they have like the little water bucket with the solution in there, and you wash your windows while you're filling up. Somebody threw that away, and he was like so pissed about it that he's like, no, those people in there, they can wait. And I'm like, dude, it wasn't them that threw that away. Get in there. Like, what are you doing? The garbage can wait, man. The people that are going to pay the store to keep keep it in business.
Right, you can
don't
wait. You can wait to take out the trash or to fix whatever the stupid squeegee thing was.
Yeah, so that's the reference. So
they
now
can
you
wait.
Understand. Yeah.
I think we've said it like 6 times on this podcast.
I'm sure we have.
We say it all the freaking time.
It's just normal in conversation now, so we probably said it way more than that.
I feel like this is confession time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this isn't part of the news, but we got to fill the segment somehow, right?
Right. I mean, the segment intro can't be longer than the segment.
As far as Ultima Final Fantasy podcast news, we are going to start a book club podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It has yet to be titled, mostly because we have a title, but we don't want to say the title just in case someone takes the title from us. So if any of you guys are interested, if you guys like to read, the book of this month is Shogun. And by October 1st, we'll be reviewing Shogun. It's not just a review; we'll be discussing Shogun, and I think the format of the show is going to be us playing poker
while discussing the book.
And so other people can bring reviews or whatever. So we're giving you guys like a little treat because our first episode was just going to be Shogun. It was just going to be us talking about it. And then we'd go, okay, the next book is this. Make sure to write reviews or whatever on our site. We're giving you guys, UFF podcast listeners who really love listening to me and Caleb here, exclusive heads up.
Yeah.
Listen to Shogun. Listen or read. I listen because of the job I have. I have to drive around a lot. Listen or read. I'm illiterate.
Yeah.
Shogun by James Clavell. It is Caleb Schweiss's pick for the book. We've actually been doing like a whole book club for
a while.
For like a long time between us, and then since we started this other podcast, this Final Fantasy podcast, we're like, it'd be kind of cool to do a once a month book podcast, you know?
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
Just to discuss books stupidly, because of course we're not very smart or literature inclined people.
Not yet.
As you can tell by my sentence structure, definitely. Yeah. But if you guys want to join us, make sure to read Shogun you got 15 days to read Shogun.
It's a big book.
Basically, and it is gigantic.
I've still got a bit to go, so...
Everybody else is done. We're all just waiting for Schweiss, so we'll give them till October 1st.
Yep.
And you guys till October 1st, whoever wants to join.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our character battle, shall we?
Let's do it.
So I figure it's time for our second character battle. Don't you?
So?
It's been a while. It's been a while since we did the Pin-Up Girl episode, and it's been a while since we've done a character battle.
Okay.
So let's take the two supposedly main dudes from Final Fantasy IV and V. Let's discuss whether or not they would win in a fight. Cecil versus Bahtz. Bartz.
Okay.
First impression, Caleb, what do you think?
Well, I'd have to say Cecil.
You'd say Cecil?
Yeah.
Just no reason given, just say Cecil?
Well, he would win. So. No, I think Cecil because he was just powerful. You know, when he became the paladin, he was dishing out some serious damage
in the game.
Yeah. Of course, that's within the confines of Earth, which is where 4 was held.
It's true.
And yeah, I don't know. I think he would just win.
You don't think he had to fight against his Dark Knight self? And the Dark Knight self was stronger. He had to defend against it, right?
Yeah.
So didn't he actually get weaker when he turned into a Dark Knight?
He did, and part of me thinks the game would have been sweeter if he would have been kind of dark the whole time.
Kind of dark, and we got the dark protagonist later on in the Final Fantasy series, I believe.
Yeah. So, well, and in support of Bartz, Exdeath was a pain in the ass. He was insanely hard.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm insanely hard right now thinking about how insanely hard Exdeath was.
That's how intense it is. So, and I'm not saying that the final boss in 4 wasn't really difficult, because I had some hard times with him, but I'm certain that Exdeath was more powerful. Like, it was a pain in the ass to kill that guy. I even had to use my cheap Gil Toss thing that we talked about, that we both use. And
we both used to kill
that
the
was
final
still
boss.
hard. Yeah, that was still hard without Mime. So, as far as what they had to overcome, I think Bartz would probably be more powerful.
Just because of what they had to overcome.
Right, but I mean, there was also other party members along the way. What do you think?
Well, there's other party members in 4, too.
Yeah, that's true.
There's actually 5 party members in 4.
That's true.
They needed the extra help. Well, these kind of arguments are stupid anyway, but it is interesting to go into them. I mean, when I played 5, the game, I thought that Bartz was like, just kind of like some kid, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like an adventurous kind of guy, and he trains and becomes strong, and eventually him and his party take down Exdeath. He wasn't really the sole thing that took down Exdeath, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, Bartz has the ability to switch his abilities around.
That's true.
Especially with, like, the mime class. He could just mime everything Cecil does.
He could, yeah.
I feel like in a fight, if they had their abilities from their games, I think that Bartz would win. Bahtz would win.
I could see that.
And then I watched the Final Fantasy V movie, And then I realized that Bartz is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And he's blonde as opposed to
Exactly.
a brunette in the game.
No, it's the other way around.
Was he blonde?
He was
in the
really
game?
dark-haired, and he had lighter brown hair in the game. He still had brown hair.
I thought he had blonde hair in the movie.
No, but
Maybe I was
the
looking at some-
artwork, it was like blonde.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So they're really confusing with the hair. They're like, no, he's blonde.
They just can't keep a solid design throughout.
No, and you know what? They don't all have to be blonde. They don't all have to be the Aryan race throughout these games.
Even though you would like that, right?
Well, I
You
mean,
Nazi piece of shit.
I'm not a Nazi. I just am.
Now that I said that, people are going to think you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
I'm like, listening to that Caleb guy, he's a Nazi.
Yeah, well, I am technically very Aryan. My hair is kind of brownish, but it's blonde. And I do have the blue eyes.
It's brown. He's lying.
Joe himself has been lost in them for days. No, but it does kind of bother me that with the artwork and like with the movie, he just has blonde hair, and I'm like, come on, why can't you just have a main guy that's not blonde? It doesn't. No one. Honestly, brown hair is way more common than blonde hair.
Right.
Of course,
It's not like every Final Fantasy protagonist is blonde. Although
Most of them
Cloud, Titus,
Vaughn. Vaughn.
Zidane.
If you wanna call
Yeah,
him
you're
the main
right. You're
character.
right. Lightning is, well, she dyed her hair pink a little bit, obviously, because that's not natural.
Everyone but
Everyone but Squall.
yeah, everyone but Squall basically. I mean, in the first games.
Yeah, Bartz actually had brown hair in the game.
He did, so he doesn't count as it, but they did change it. They're like, oh no, look, it looks like the later games that you love.
Man, Bartz, it's like it's like around Sid's death in the movie, he was pumping it, man.
He started lifting.
He started lifting and also got really into steroids, I think. is what it was, because that sprite did not give me the impression in the Final Fantasy V game that Bartz was just incredibly fit.
Yeah, he's a beefcake in that movie.
Yeah, I want to suck his dick, you know?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
You know, gotta squeeze the mayonnaise packet, right?
yeah.
Right? That was... See, now we're getting into disgusting territory. Anyway, if they were in a fight, I think that Bartz would win. However, the reason why we don't want to say that is because Bartz isn't the classic warrior. I mean, unless you watch the Final Fantasy V movie, he doesn't look like the classic heroic warrior that, like, we are used to seeing as the strong guy.
Right.
While Cecil is that. He's a warrior for his country, and then, of course, he turns into, like, a warrior for the power of good
Yeah.
later on. So,
Later on, come on.
later
20
on,
minutes
it's
later,
20
he
minutes into the
becomes
game,
a good
yeah.
guy.
Still a good scene.
It was a good scene, yeah. I'm not doubting.
Very,
it.
very
It's
good
just
part of it.
Could have been more powerful with a little more build up.
I don't know. You still think Cecil? I mean, you could turn into a samurai and chuck money at Cecil.
I would probably have to say Bartz just because the
All
game
Bartz
boosted
has
him.
to do is throw money, and he'll do max damage.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's me controlling
Throw
Cecil,
like a sack of coins.
I'll just pick up the gold and run. You know, like go back and buy an ultimate weapon and then come back.
So I'm just wondering, if you were Bartz and you went to like a strip joint and started, you know, if you made it rain, would everybody die?
I would imagine so, especially if. What if someone else in there?
Oh God!
What if someone else had their mime class on and like they just didn't even think about it and they just started miming it too, and then it's just this blood fest of coin and carnage. That would be sweet.
Oh my God!
We need to make a little mini video on that.
We should. All right, so we are going to move on. I think we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've
These
decided.
character battles are always so short.
Well,
Like, last time it's like, well, yeah, we just kind of discuss it. I mean, this isn't a video format, so we can't like bullshit it where we're like, and he would use this ability to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know that bullshit Zelda versus or Link versus Cloud video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Link or Cloud? I mean, honestly,
I'm certain Cloud would win.
yeah.
I mean,
certain Cloud would win
based on what the games have. I'm not saying that Zelda's not good or that Link's not powerful. It's just Look at his moves. Omni Slash would pretty much kill anybody if you think about it. And sure.
But they're always saying like, well, Link has a shield that blocks everything. It's like
I don't remember that. I remember dying a lot when I was playing Ocarina of Time. That shield didn't block. I mean, it did if I used it, but thing is, what if you missed? And really, it's an inane argument because we're pitting two fake characters against each other with different fake abilities to make them a fake amount of power
in totally different worlds.
So
it's not like we can. Because before we started this podcast, we talked about how Squall and Cloud, the day when we have to pit those two against each other. Talked about we actually looked into their stats, and if you were just going on stats, you would know who would win, right?
Yeah. Link doesn't have Final Fantasy stats.
Yeah, Link does not have Final Fantasy stats, unless of course you converted hearts to 9999, which you could do.
Technically, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So like a half a heart, how much is that worth? Or some Link games they can do like a fourth a heart at a time, right? I think.
Yeah, it's something like that. It all depends. So I mean, it depends on which Link you get too.
All right, so we're gonna move on.
And that's another thing. There's
Just
only like
we're not gonna move on.
There's multiple Links too. It's not even the same little elf guy.
Right,
it's
not.
There's like
so
7
which Link
different
are we?
ones.
Which Link are we talking about?
We're not talking about any of them, but those other people probably don't realize that Link is numerous
people.
Yeah, those people. All right, now we can move on.
Okay, so there was a little... Okay, I lied about the news. There was a little bit... Hironobu Sakaguchi was talking about his new game, and he slipped up a little bit on a little something. You know what I mean? He gave a little bit of info away about his time at Square-Enix and why he quit. So we're going to talk about that.
Ooh. So tell me more about this Sakaguchi slip-up.
Well, it wasn't really a slip-up, although I'm not even sure if he's legally allowed to say why he left Square, if he's even allowed to say anything. He probably signed some kind of non-disclosure agreement, I would guess, when he left Square. And we, of course, talked about it in our most popular episode, which is the Hironobu Sakaguchi episode, which is also the episode that gives us the most traffic to our site for some reason. We're actually, like, I was like, why do we keep getting clicks on Hironobu Sakaguchi? I went onto our thing, and I was like, I went out to Google, and I Googled Hironobu Sakaguchi. We're, like, on page 8. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess some people are just kind of coming in. Yeah. Anyway, he just gave this little bit of a slip-up here. And let's see if I can...
A little kernel of knowledge as to his leaving.
This is on joystick.com, and they interviewed... Sakaguchi and Hironobu Sakaguchi, which, if you don't know, he's the creator of the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah.
He said while in this interview for his new game Mistwalker, which people can download, he says, "I hated Square.
Damn.
The whole business part of it." Sakaguchi defined success differently than a large publisher like Square Enix might, and while there is a business side to being successful, and he quotes, doing it too much is actually not that good as well. And he emphasizes, quote, a lot of balance in game purchases for Terra Battle, because he feels like, I don't know, he just doesn't like the business aspect of the game company. And I still think it probably has to do with his failure on the Final Fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Honestly. That's probably the business side that he's talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, we've discussed this before. It's cold to throw him under the bus like that after all the success he brought them. He made the company in a way.
He has 10 successful games, and then
one really, really, really bad financially bad movie.
Right.
Not necessarily a bad movie. It's better than all of the others, actually.
All of the other Final Fantasy movies?
I would say so, but we're not going to go too much into that quite yet. But I mean, throw the creator of the series that saved the company out because of that one giant.
They didn't fire him. They obviously made life really hard, and
they did. Yeah,
he quit.
That's a way to remove someone from their position, is to give them one that's really crappy and be like, all right, well, there you go.
Yeah, ship him off to Hawaii, which is what they did.
Yeah,
and then apparently he took like half of 12's Final Fantasy 12 staff with him when he quit,
Right.
which is awesome.
Well, I mean, 12 would have been amazing if he
And maybe
hadn't
12
done
would
that.
have came out faster at least.
At the very least. That would have sucked, though, because I had money for 12 when 12 came out, see? I don't know if I would have had money for 12 5 months earlier or like 2 years earlier or whatever it would have been.
Maybe. Apparently he could only play 20 minutes at 12, I think, is what he said.
That's hard for
He was
me.
really disappointed with it.
I think a lot of that could be related to his leaving.
Yeah. Or maybe it's
Right
just
as 12.
the not fixed camera.
It's like, no, the control.
He just hates it.
Yeah.
Of course, 11 had the same thing. But
I really like the non-fixed camera, personally. I think
12?
it's ingenious. Yeah.
12, yeah, it works for 12.
I don't
That's
like
true.
some of the camera angles that some of these games give me. I mean, they're not like Resident Evil 1 terrible, where I can't see anything. And then suddenly when I walk down a hallway, the controls switch around, and I'm like, what the... Now I'm walking backwards, and then I go out of the hallway, and it opens up the old area. It's not like that with these games, but I do like the freedom of camera.
You like the freedom of camera? Well, yeah. It works sometimes, but sometimes in its Shadow of the Colossus, where it's like it takes your camera angle that you chose, and then you get screwed over for it,
True. That's true.
which is pretty bad. I remember it was just weird playing 12 because it didn't feel like a Final Fantasy, probably because of the not fixed camera.
Are you serious? That's why I didn't...
I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, but like... I always give new reasons why it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy, but it is a Final Fantasy.
It is,
and I accept it now.
Well, that's good. That's good.
I
So,
accept it. I don't care for it, but of course, I'm gonna replay it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to
for the
rank
podcast.
surprisingly high.
You think so?
Well, the earlier ones, like, they,
It's above 1, 2, and 3. That's true.
at the very least.
That's true.
I think I like it more than 4, maybe.
Maybe
I don't know. It's hard to pit those two. It's almost not fair to try to pit them against each
because there's so much time in between.
other.
the two.
They're so different, and there's a story in 4, and it's a good story, but I mean, it's a good story for the time, and we're trying not to be that. That's not what we want to be. We're reviewing these games right now as they are in reality, not as they are in
Not
what you
necessarily.
remember.
I don't know. We're reviewing them as we messily review the games, I would say. Because sometimes you want to look at it as, okay, this is the year 1990, whatever, 1993, and this is video game history up to this point. How would I rank it in terms of that? But at the same time,
it's hard to do that from our perspective. So we're doing kind of a hybrid of that, which is, I think, the only
Something.
fair way to do it. Because we can't just say, oh, it's better, when really the story in 12 is way more in depth. That doesn't necessarily make it a better story or a better game, but
It doesn't make
it's
it a better
hard to compare 'em.
experience.
Yeah, that's true. It's the experience as well. It's all of it mixed into one is what we rate.
Yeah, so messed up as far as this
It's hard.
explanation goes.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a full conversation when we review the games. And on that distracted note, let's move on to tactics you might need.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I decided to name it quite a while ago on the forums, and I forgot the name that I decided to name it
Yeah.
the last few times we've done these.
Nice.
We actually have one. We actually have someone sent in one, but it's a continuation of one that we did before. So let's do that.
Okay.
Tactics you might need.
When you're stuck on a boss, you just a bit. You know you need your best. When you're looking for items that you see.
You know we'll help you out with some tactics you might need.
All right, so our great friend Batman sent us an email telling us what we said before we weren't going to talk about with the Lionheart and Final Fantasy VIII.
Right, the card way of getting the
So,
the game.
yeah, explain to me how I can get Lionheart
A
in
little
Final Fantasy
faster?
VIII. Yeah, with
Yeah.
playing the card game. A little faster and with much alcohol needed. Card game. I don't know, maybe I'll understand it, but last time I played 8, I was like, what in the hell is happening here? Like, I go out of the town, I'm like, okay, I'll try the card game again, and then it's completely different, as we've discussed.
Yeah, the rules change,
just like-
the region, and also the order in which you talked. I hate it.
Yeah, and then the one place where they take all of your effing cards when you lose. Like, everyone that's flipped, and then there's some move that can flip them all, and I'm just, like, empty. I'm like, what do I even do? Like, I don't know of any way to buy the cards, and I can't win them without conquest. So anyway.
All right, so he has a little thing here, and he asked us to do a listener contribution segment, and this is all listener contribution segments. If you guys want to contribute to the Tactical Tuesday stuff, go on our forum. There's tactics you might need. I don't know why I just call it Tactical Tuesday, even though I just announced it's not Tactical Tuesday.
It's Sunday.
Yeah, it's Sunday. We're recording this on Sunday. Tactics you might need. There's a place in the forum for that. Go over there. Do that. There's also a questions area. Ask the questions there. They will become part of the show.
Yeah.
Including this. Now, this was an email, but the easiest way is, of course, through the forum, which you can get to by going to ultimatefinalfantasy.com, clicking on the forum, and going to that link, or go to ultimatefinalfantasy.boards.net.
Correct.
Right. So he wrote it down here, and I'm gonna read it to you guys who want to get to the Lionheart a little bit quicker. He said, the adamantine is easily obtained by using card mod on the Minotaur card.
Okay.
Now you get the Minotaur card after you fight the Minotaur in Final Fantasy VIII, which is near the end of this one. It's in the tomb of the Unknown King, I think is what the tomb is called.
Okay, I remember
Y'all
that
know what
part.
I'm talking about.
If you care, yeah.
It's the second to last area in the game. You have to go get the student ID number, which is like right at the entrance. But if you keep going around the place, you can, flip some switches and get in and go get the Minotaur. And
Okay.
you can get the two brothers. And it's you can do the card mod and get adamantine from the Minotaur card. Personally, I liked using the card mod stuff for magic.
Yeah.
Rather than items, which is probably why I didn't even think about doing that. The dragon fangs are obtained after a couple fights with the Grendel by the forest outside of Galbadia Garden. Just make sure you are not...
Wait, the Grundle?
Yeah. Outside of... It's the name of a creature.
I'm sorry.
Outside
I'm a
of
child.
a forest outside of Galbadia Garden. Just make sure you are not over an average level of 20. So, I guess that means that even if you are doing the level 7 Squall, you can get the Lionheart. At least you can get the Dragon Fangs.
I hope. I don't know. Would you be over level 20 by the end of Disc 1? I don't even think I was. I was
Outside of
playing the game
Galbadia
like
Garden?
an idiot. Maybe, though.
Yeah. You would, if you played it like a normal Final Fantasy, you would be, I think.
Curse.
But fuck that.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Screw that.
Yeah, screw it.
All right, he says the longest part is getting El Noyo cards, but instead of playing Sid, which I guess is the normal way of getting it, play the Trep Troopy in the cafeteria. They're the guys in the back. He uses the card much more often. I got all 20 in about 45 minutes, says
wow.
Batman. I got all 20 in
Yeah.
45 minutes. Which is nothing as far as grinding is concerned. This could be longer, but I've done it a couple times and it went fast. Just card mod the El Noils and then ammo refine. So yeah, I guess that is a pretty simple way of getting the Lionheart a lot earlier in the game. That's for sure.
So man, we should have delved into that before. But...
I guess, but I wanted to get the Lionheart the way that we were going to discuss how to get the Lionheart in the show before we did the show the night before, and so I did that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So that's why we did it. Anyway, I think that's it for tactics you might need.
Yeah, thank you, Batman.
Let's go on to our new segment, which is our question segment, and I do not have a jingle for it yet, but I will soon.
Yeah. All right, so Mr. Green Mushroom asked us, he tweeted us, question of the week time. Which Final Fantasy game that you haven't played before are you most excited to play? Joe?
Me? You want me to go first? Okay. Let me think. Because there are quite a few that I want to play that I haven't played. Very much, I should say. I want to play 13-2 pretty bad.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've heard so much about tactics that if we're gonna talk about like, if you only had one more Final Fantasy game you could play, or
you only
before
have
die,
yeah. You only have enough time of life.
I'd probably be like,
Go on.
I need to experience tactics,
Okay.
just to know.
And you've never played Tactics.
I have
before.
never touched tactics.
Wow. I like Tactics, so that's a good choice.
Is it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, 13.2 and 13.3 though are second on that
Okay.
on that list.
From your
I've heard good things about 13.2 especially.
it didn't show in the sales numbers necessarily, but
No, it didn't show in the sales
I've heard
numbers.
good things about 13.2 as well.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Tactics.
tactics.
And I'm thinking probably 13.2 because I've played Tactics for probably about 15 hours, which I don't know what is up with my Tactics playing. I did not know how to play that game. It was brutal for me. I was bad. Craig, the other Caleb, this is hard for me to admit. He knows that game better than me. He's beaten it.
Dun dun dun.
And I haven't. And that's like a rare statement. Like that is something that's like a sign that we are in the end times. Is for me to utter those words.
That Caleb beat a game that you didn't.
Caleb is better at a game than me.
Than you.
Yeah. So,
Well, he claims he's better at Call of Duty.
well, yeah. All right. Anyways, I would say 13.2 because I mean I did play 13 for about 25 hours and idiotically stopped when the game.
When the game
Opened
opened
up,
up,
yeah,
right? You
like-
stopped in Grand Pulse.
Yeah, like I did 3 of those hunt things in Grand Pulse, and then I was just done. I don't know why. I just stopped playing. And
It got good, dude.
I know it was getting better. It was getting better.
It's a hard game to replay because when you like see that opening scene, you're like, God, it's so slow.
Yeah.
First time through, it's not bad though.
Yeah. Well, we'll see
I don't
because
think. I
I've
know
done
a
the
lot of people
first.
hate it.
I've done the first half of the game already, so maybe I'll hate it the first half too. Who knows? But I would say 13.2 for my pick. That or Type 0, but Type 0 is kind of not fair to say.
Because
it's
it's not
not
quite
out.
out yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Type 0 does look good. I think you should be. Excited for Kingdom Hearts.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you should definitely be excited for the rest of 6.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've played 6 now, so
You've officially played.
yeah.
6.
So that doesn't count because it's which ones that we're going to play that we haven't played that we're excited for.
You got through the Phantom Train, right?
Oh yeah,
So, did you like that scene?
yeah. It's a beautiful scene.
I told you it was good.
It's heart wrenching.
I think it's better than the opera scene. Have you gotten to that yet?
Not yet.
Anyway. We are in the middle of 6, though. I guess
the
not
middle?
quite in the middle, but we are in 6.
We are
And it's pretty good.
just the tip.
Pretty good, yeah.
But,
Just the
yeah.
tip.
Yeah.
It is in my case. You're ahead of me, I think.
Yeah. Me and our other mutual friend who has yet to be on the podcast, Christian, are about in the same place where what is the Celeste? Not Celeste, the other girl. Tara. Tara takes off all her clothes, turns pink, and flies away. we're both at that part. He's slightly ahead of me, so yeah, that was really odd. She's like this pink thing, and she's like,
I love hearing that from someone who's never played the game before. It's kind of funny.
yeah. So yeah, I'd say 13-2.
13-2,
and Tactics is a good game, so there you go. Green
I'll ask this
Mushroom.
question to the audience. If you guys want to tweet us or if you want to post on our forum on whatever game that you're talking about, or if you guys, what game are you most excited to play in the Final Fantasy games that you
Yeah.
haven't played?
For those of you that are either following along or just are curious about playing another game, what is your answer to this question from the Green
Exactly.
Mushroom?
Exactly. And so make sure to tweet us, email us, or post on our forum based upon whatever game it is. Just start a new thread and be like, this is the game
Yeah,
I want to play.
yeah, we want to know. We want to
Exactly.
know
Exactly.
to tell you if your choice is good or not.
I also want to play Kingdom Hearts the remixes one because I've never played I've never played anything in Kingdom Hearts outside of 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I've never even beat 1, but I beat 2.
I've seriously never played either. I've seen them being played, but I have never
Oh, they're great.
inserted them into my PS2.
No, never.
No. So
There's
that's
whole podcasts dedicated to those.
I know one really big one that's 50% dedicated to that.
Yeah.
And the
I
other.
don't think Final Fantasy Union would be nearly as big without the Kingdom Hearts podcast to support them.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts podcasts, it's not bad,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's not that the Final Fantasy Union one's bad.
Well,
They don't post enough and they're not opinionated enough.
yeah, that's true. So anyway,
This is a really loose episode, I'd say.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's tough because we're in between 6. We don't want to talk about 6 yet because we're going to have a huge episode on 6, I'm sure. And you guys, we only have a couple user questions.
Questions, and there's no news.
There's no news. Yeah. Other than the fact that we won't be going to the 14 convention officially.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right.
Because the tickets are sold out. But I don't know. Something might happen. It depends.
We might go down there and, like, stay outside
Yeah.
and hand out cards and talk to people.
Yeah.
We haven't decided because we're like 5-hour drive away from Vegas.
Yeah, it's not too
Which is
far.
horrible. So just I-15 down.
Yeah, the whole way. But, yeah.
Exactly. Thank you guys for sending in your questions, sending in your tactics that we might need, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.